and this is also going back to the whole value side of things and, the value that you're providing to your community, and then allowing your community to take ownership in that with you and really be able to feel like they've taken part in making a change, a positive change, and something that they really believe in. And that's really what a fundraiser is that it gives people the opportunity to personally become involved, even if they don't have the ability to volunteer or, by other means. So that's what this is all about, is, helping people become involved.
And having fun. There's put the fun in fundraising. I'm sure lots of people have heard that before, but that's where when you put on your creative hat and come up with something that's really unique and make it fun for people, bringing in the money is just the icing on the cake.
Welcome to the Rooted in Community podcast. My name is Celia Coughlin-Surridge, and I'm here to bring authentic, community-focused conversations about online marketing to you on a bi-weekly basis. Let's face it, getting the word out about your nonprofit, service, or product is one of the first obstacles anyone faces when trying to grow their organization. Between all of the different social media platforms, opinions shared by influencers and podcasters, and the bells and whistles that are all screaming for your attention, a state of overwhelm seems right around the corner. Thankfully, it doesn't have to be that way. Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and relax as we discuss online marketing tips, tricks, techniques, and strategies to grow your audience by providing value to those you serve. Today's episode is a fun one because our Community Relations Director, Mary, joins me for a conversation about creative fundraising in 2021. Now, if you're a small business or entrepreneur, don't turn this episode off quite yet. You just might find some unexpected inspiration for an event you're organizing, but also we talk about the core key factors you need to consider with any kind of marketing endeavor. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the episode to find out how you can get your hands on a free steps to planning your fundraiser checklist. Plus, here are 2 bonus event ideas to help step up your fundraising game in 2021. Before we jump into our discussion, I wanted to point out that one of the very first tools you need as a business or nonprofit is an email service provider. If you don't have an email list or you're trying to balance your contact list in Gmail, then you're wasting time and losing out on opportunities to connect with your audience. That is why I would like to invite you to take advantage of a 60-day free trial of Constant Contact. Constant Contact is the program that we use with our clients, and I swear by their customer service and easy-to-use platform. With so many features like event registration, websites, and text marketing, just to name a few, do yourself a favor and try out Constant Contact today. Work smarter, not harder, and get a 60-day free trial by signing up at constantcontact.ricpodcast.com.
Mary, thanks so much for joining us today on the Rooted in Community podcast. And we are here to talk about fundraising in 2021.
Yes, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited by the topic.
Yeah, I think that we have really seen some interesting things come from the year 2020 in regards to fundraising. A lot of people have had that dreaded word pivot due to the pandemic. And so I think the plans that you may have had in place even just a couple of years ago are changing. And so this topic is a hot topic because you're probably having to start from scratch, not knowing what is my nonprofit actually going to be able to do in 2020? We don't know yet. Everything is kind of up in the air. So, Mary, you've actually come up with a great outline on the core steps to focus on while planning a fundraiser. And those are key factors types of fundraisers and the communications for those fundraisers. And I think most people planning fundraisers want to start with the type. They think that coming up with the type of fundraiser is step one, but you actually suggest that we start with key factors to think about and brainstorm. Can you tell us why you should start there and what those key factors are?
Well, there are several things that you need to consider that are going to play into your decision. And first of all, you've got to think about your demographic. Who do you serve? Who does your organization serve? Who are your donors? These are really important questions that are going to help you. The next would be, how does your event tie in with your cause? For example, an animal shelter doing a doggy dash 5K, 2K, or something like that, as well as an art center having an arts auction, or a theater company having an adult or a youth concert online. Those are the kinds of things that you want to be thinking about. What type of event would lend itself to your cause and be the best way to go forward. Mm-hmm. You'll also want to take into consideration the number of participants that you're hoping for and how that balances with what the event will cost you. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you're using some sort of program to put on the online event, how much is it going to cost you to use that program, and how much are you going to have to charge, and how many people are you going to have involved to make that worthwhile and to give you the highest profit margin, basically. Mm-hmm. Another big thing to consider is the effort involved to put on the event. How much time, how many people, volunteers are huge. You need to make sure that you have plenty of volunteers in place to cover everything that you're going to be doing to put this event on. So those are all really important things to take into consideration before you make a decision on what kind of event you're going to hold.
Yeah, I believe that is 100% where you need to start. And we're talking about, sitting down with your board, whomever is a key volunteer or a key decision maker for your nonprofit, pulling out a bunch of Post-it notes and just jotting down as many ideas as possible. And, grouping those within each of these key factors, which, to reiterate, those key factors are to sit down and come up with your demographic, who it is that you are actually speaking to, advertising to, and who your donors are. Then how your event ties in with your cause, the number of participants required versus the event pricing. So what is your ultimate fundraising goal? Effort involved to putting that event together. And that really means how many volunteers you need. And I don't think that I can even talk about the volunteers enough, really, because that's where, you won't even realize until you get into the planning that you need additional volunteers, especially if you're dealing with, sponsorships, donors, social media marketing. There are just so many different aspects that you could need a volunteer. And that is not understated enough, because, for every 3 volunteers, 1 may not be available, 2 may not be available. So you really want to make sure that you plan accordingly, for sure.
Right. You need people that you can count on so you don't run into any issues.
Yeah, counting on people, especially in 2020, has been very difficult, because we're all either told to stay at home, not feeling well, or just not available. So that's right. So you also have come up with some great ideas. So kind of like what you talked about in the key factors of how, your event ties into your cause. You came up with a couple of ideas there, but here you have 4 core ideas on what you could do as a fundraiser that would be good. And we actually have a couple bonus ones for the end of the episode if you want to stick around for that. But what are your 4 options that you think are really solid for fundraisers?
Right. Well, the 5K would be the first on my list. That's something that is super easy for the participants. They can do it however they like. They can walk the 5K, they can run the 5K indoors or outdoors, actually, if they have a treadmill. They can hike it, they can bike it, as long as they can keep track of their distance, they can participate in the 5K in lots of different ways. So
Yeah.
it's great to have, it's a great option for appealing to a variety of people. Next, I'd say an auction. And, that can be done in many different ways. And if you have some, unique auction items, especially high ticket items that people would be really interested in, you can be really creative with it too and come up with some unusual auction items and really engage people and get them excited about wanting to participate in that. Next, a concert of some sort. And it could be, I suppose it could be live depending on your situation. If you're doing it like on Zoom, people are socially distanced, but you can also pre-record it. And it could be a really great way to draw in people. And then also a webinar or a talk. That's just a matter of getting a hold of somebody who people would be interested in listening to. Could be a local entertainer, could be a celebrity of some sort, or just a professional speaking on a really interesting topic.
Yeah, that's a fabulous idea. I actually haven't seen a lot of webinars or talks as fundraisers. So I think that that's a solid idea. And even if you were able to get somebody that people would want to spend VIP tickets on, to go see that person like on a personalized Zoom call or something, that's another option as well. That's a fabulous idea.
With people doing more reading these days, it could be someone who's written a book, and the attendees could submit questions, and it could be really great.
Yeah, that is a fabulous idea. I love that so much. And just to recap the earlier, we have the 5K option, which there are multiple different platforms out there that can make that easy. I mean, you could even technically do it in a Facebook group. You don't have to get a specific type of, application or website to make that happen. Same with an auction. That's something that you could literally just set up the blog feature on your website, list a bunch of different options, or you could do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live if that's where your community is at. And then, of course, the concert I specifically wanted to call out because we've talked about this before. If you do something that's live, you want to make sure you have some pre-recorded aspects. Doing an event that is 100% live is really difficult logistically. And I think that 2020 has shown us that anything can happen at any point in time. And so you just want to make sure that you have backup plans all of the time. And I mean, this really goes back to your key factors, which we can't really talk about enough. Like if you've spent time figuring out, who is your demographic and what your volunteer availability is, you're going to be able to figure out what type of fundraiser is going to be best for us, what type of fundraiser is going to be easiest for us to put off, because, the complexity, that's not really important, right? Like what's important is the value that you're bringing to your community is right. What you are providing your community. And also the important part is for your audience to feel like they are in ownership of your mission alongside with you, to be part of what change you are doing in this world or making it your change that you are achieving in this world. And if you do something super complex, but it's poorly done, or it doesn't allow your audience to feel like they've been able to participate with you, it's not going to be a successful fundraiser.
Right. And your process of making the decision what type of fundraiser you're going to hold should be a brainstorming session. You should incorporate as many different ideas as you possibly can. Get your board together, get your marketing team together, and brainstorm basically to come to the decision once you've taken all of these different aspects into consideration.
Exactly. And let's go back to the key factors, brainstorming and Post-it notes.
Right.
Yeah. Just Post-it note that out for sure.
There you go.
What is the one thing you need in order to achieve your mission? Is it more employees, more revenue, or more time? One thing is for sure, you can't have more time by delegating work out to the employees you've hired without a community of supporters that help you bring in more revenue. That is why we are so excited to be providing a 5-week series on audience growth starting on Thursday, January 21st. In this weekly series, we'll be going through the foundational steps you need to grow your audience. Even better, we have free resources we'll be sending out to our listeners to help them put what we discuss in these episodes into action. To find out more and receive the weekly worksheets, go to learn.modernrootsmarketing.com and click on the free 5 weeks to audience growth download. And don't worry if you're not quite ready to jump into this or you're listening to this episode after the series airs. You'll be able to find these resources, plus all of our free resources, at learn.modernrootsmarketing.com.
Wonderful. So the next step in all of this is the communication step. And I think, we're going to go back to those key factors on this because it really depends on what you're doing. But you have outlined those key moments in communications. What are those?
Well, yeah, there are many facets to the communication. You want to have all of your resources available to you. You want them all to be streamlined. You want your messaging to be the same on all of your different channels so that there's no confusion and that everybody knows exactly what to expect with your fundraiser. So first of all, you want to update your website. It sounds simple enough, but you'd be surprised. There a lot of times people don't think about doing that, and either just bits and pieces of the information end up there or none at all. And it's really important. Your website should be updated with all of the details. If you put out a regular newsletter, if you don't, you should. But also with a regular newsletter, you want to be sending out that information to people who you're in regular contact with. An email campaign to those people, as well as groups, other organizations that you may have partnered with in the past. Send your email campaign to them and ask them to share. Ask all of your board members to share. That's how you really start gaining momentum. One share can really snowball and you'll end up reaching a lot of new people that way. Social media, of course, put out the information on all of your social channels and, set up events on those social channels and keep people posted. Promotion through local news media outlets. You could just write up a very simple press release and submit it to all the news outlets. Ask them, call them up too. Ask them if they'll feature you. Get on all of the community calendars. And one thing that most people probably don't think much about anymore is sending out the information via postcard. Traditional mail has fallen by the wayside because of everything being online. But there are those people out there who aren't into email. There are those people out there who haven't even delved into social media, and they're still wanting to give to organizations. So you need to reach them via postcard and let them know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. And, I am absolutely in love with postcards right now. We're actually doing that for our business, Modern Roots Marketing, right now. And I mean, when you look at it this way, you could spend $100 on Facebook ads, and that could, you could spend the time researching your demographics and make sure to set up that ad to work as best as it can for you. But there's just something different about receiving something in the mail. We're past the election season, so people are a little bit more keen on looking at what they've gotten as far as like, a little piece of paper, and
Right.
it's, roughly approximately the same cost. And you're going to be reaching out specifically to the people that you want to reach, which is really great. And you could put a QR code or a website on it so they could easily find you. So I can't speak to how much I love the postcard idea for sure.
The postcards can lead to other things too. If someone receives a postcard about an event that doesn't really float their boat, not something that they want to participate in, they may still want to donate money. Mm-hmm. So you're still reaching someone who has the potential of becoming a donor.
That is a fabulous point. And that's actually something that you can add to the postcard too, like to donate, here's a QR code or a link specifically to that, or text, donate, text to this number. So there are a few options for you to take advantage of online with different services to make that happen.
Right.
So to recap all of the communications, because this is a lot. And once again, this goes back to your key factors. You want to divvy up your communication to-dos among your volunteers. So because this is a lot of work and you really want to make sure that you get the word out, because I think I've shared it before on other episode, it takes 6 to 8 times before someone even like acknowledges you and makes a purchase or it makes a donation in this particular sense. So you really want to spend time making sure you have all of your bases covered. And this is just your donors. This is not, your sponsorship liaison, which is a whole nother thing that, once again, going back to your key factors, you have to make sure that you've planned for. So to recap these communication points, we've got updating your website. That is first and foremost. Then your regular newsletters, which you should be doing anyway. And once again, you are an organization that's providing value within your community. You should be talking about it on a regular basis. So make sure you're doing those regular newsletters, no matter how busy you are. Then plan your email campaign around your fundraiser and make sure you're sending enough emails to promote it. Your social media, promos with local news outlets. And this is also really important because then it goes out on their social media and other people see it and share it on their website. So you really need to reach out to the local news. That's what they're there for. And then, of course, the postcard idea, which I'm so excited that postage for postcards is only 35 cents. I thought it was 55 cents, like the normal amount. No, apparently it's a little bit less. So you could save some money. Yes, exactly. USPS all the way, baby. Anyway. So that's my postal PSA for the day. So
you've gone postal.
Yeah. If 2020 hasn't made me go crazy enough, this is definitely it, guys. Woo. Yeah, we are not drinking, I promise. Anyway, we have saved the best for last. Mary has come up with 2 bonus ideas, and these are really fun, so I wanted to save them to be the last little bit. These bonus ideas, once again, going back to your key factors, takes a little planning. So the first one is an online dinner with a party in a box. Tell us about this idea, Mary.
Well, the online dinner can take place on Zoom, for instance, and the party in the box aspect would be to partner with a local restaurant to either make appetizers or possibly even a full meal and maybe a cocktail or a bottle of wine or something like that to go with it. And the box could either be delivered to or picked up by the attendee. And that way everyone attending has the same food and drink. And so it really is like a dinner. You're sharing a meal as a group online. And then you could develop some sort of program to go along with it, where there could be discussion, background music, and something along those lines.
Yeah, I love this idea. Plus, there are so many different ways that you could spin it. For example, you could partner with a local grocery store and their ready-made meals they could offer you at a specific price. And so that way, maybe you could do a pickup at a grocery store so you don't have to worry about the deliveries. I've been to a fundraiser where they did a signature cocktail drink. They had like the little minis, and then they had a bartender actually join the call at some point and teach everyone how to put the drink together. It was a little bougie, but it was still a whole lot of fun. So,
a mixologist.
Yes, they were a mixologist. Thank you for correcting me on that. And then the other bonus idea that we had, which could be spun multiple different ways, is a costume party with trivia games and raffle. And I love this. I've been to a trivia game before. There are lots of like Jeopardy is a good one. But I also know that drag queen bingo is really popular around the US right now. So Mary, what made you come up with this one?
Well, costume parties are always fun. And so it's just a matter of setting your theme, and then people can dress according to that. And it could be, just a theme, any kind of theme. It could be in association with, an upcoming holiday, or you could really just go crazy with the theme. And then the games could also be tied into that theme. And you could include a raffle and have some really cool raffle prizes, and that could be donated and make money off of that. So in addition to the registration for the party.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there are just so many different ways that, as long as, going back to the key factors, you have the people to help you plan this out, you really have an opportunity to take advantage of some really great, different and creative ways to interact with your donor base and get them involved. And this is also going back to the whole value side of things, and the value that you're providing to your community, and then allowing your community to take ownership in that with you and really be able to feel like they've taken part in making a change, a positive change, and something that they really believe in. And that's really what a fundraiser is that it gives people the opportunity to personally become involved, even if they don't have the ability to volunteer or, by other means. So that's what this is all about, is, helping people become involved. So,
and having fun, there's put the fun in fundraising. I'm sure lots of people have heard that before, but that's where when you put on your creative hat and come up with something that's really unique and make it fun for people, bringing in the money is just the icing on the cake.
Right. Exactly. It's all about what you're actually doing for your community. That's what really matters.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, with that, I really want to thank you for coming up with this wonderful outline. I am so excited to see what our audience does with this information. I think 2021 is a little scary for some people, but holds a lot of promise. And so, and it's one of those things where we're resilient people. We can help our nonprofits take the next step and continue doing what they're here to do for our communities. So we both hope that you will take this list and do something great.
Definitely. Thanks again for having me.
We covered a lot in this episode. And as I promised earlier, we have a free steps to planning your fundraiser checklist available for you to download at learn.modernrootsmarketing.com. This free download covers everything we talked about today and will help you lay the groundwork needed to creating a fundraiser that will help you further your mission in 2021. To see more details on this episode or find out more about us, check out our show notes at www.ricpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening today. Your support is appreciated, and if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider following us on the podcast platform you're listening on, share us with a colleague, or leave a review. We would love to hear what you think about the show. The Rooted in Community podcast is produced and edited by Modern Roots Marketing. a firm dedicated to simplifying online marketing for service-based organizations so they can make a bigger impact in their communities. Log on to www.modernrootsmarketing.com to find out more. Until next time, and have a happy new year.